Hello, boys and girls. We are starting a new topic, that is spectroscopy. The topics to be covered are principles of spectroscopy and electromagnetic radiation and its interaction with matter, UV-vis spectroscopy, IR spectroscopy, and NMR spectroscopy. So in today's lecture, we'll be covering the topics principle of spectroscopy and electromagnetic radiation and its interaction with matter. So first, let us come to the principles of spectroscopy. So what is basically spectroscopy? It is the study of interaction of electromagnetic radiation by matter. Now, we all know about electromagnetic radiation. In fact, I'll be clearing this topic in the coming slides. So any radiation, when it passes through matter, so what happens is that the atoms or molecules within the matter, they are undergoing transition. So that means these atoms or molecules, they absorb this electromagnetic radiation, and they jump, or they undergo transition from the ground state to the higher energy states. Now these transitions are of various types, and the transitions are recorded as a spectrum, and the spectrum is studied and interpreted, and vital information regarding the structure or concentration of the organic compound is determined. Now the spectroscopic techniques are gaining in fast popularity. Why? Because first of all, they have certain advantages over classical methods, like we require small amount of sample, we require a lesser amount of time, the methods are non-destructive. Now what do you mean by non-destructive? The sample that is used for the spectroscopic techniques, or the sample whose structure or concentration is to be determined. Now that sample we can recover after performing the spectroscopic methods. And the most important thing is that the spectroscopic methods, they are fast. That means we can analyze the sample at a faster rate as compared to the classical methods. Now, what is the principle of spectroscopy? As I said, the principle is based on the measurement of the spectrum of a sample containing atoms or molecules. That means first, upon absorption of the radiation, transitions take place within that atom or molecule, and the transitions, they are interpreted in the form of a spectrum. Now what is a spectrum? It is a graph of the intensity of the radiation that is absorbed or emitted. That means in the y-axis we take the intensity of the radiation absorbed or emitted, and in the x-axis we take the frequency or the wavelength of that particular radiation. Now what is a spectrometer? It is an instrument that is designed to measure designed to analyze that spectrum of a compound. Now spectroscopy is of two types, the absorption spectroscopy and the emission spectroscopy. Now if the radiation is absorbed by the atom or molecule concerned, we call it as the absorption spectroscopy, and emission spectroscopy, as the name suggests, that the radiations are emitted from the sample. Now this is a typical spectrum. Here you can see that this is the intensity of the radiation that is absorbed, and that is measured in terms of the absorbance. And this x-axis, here we see that there is a wavelength, but you can also interpret it. We can also draw the graph on the basis of the frequency. Now the graph, the information, the lot of information we get from this spectrum, and this information, what type of information we get? The information related to the structure of the organic compound, because without breaking that sample, without doing any type of destructive methods, you can find out more information regarding the organic compound. So you can find out what is the structure of the organic compound, what type of functional groups are present in the organic compound, or what type of double bond, triple bond, or all sorts of information you can collect from the organic compound. And from the spectrum we can determine these parameters. Now what is the use of spectroscopy? As I said earlier, it helps us to determine the structure of organic compounds, the bond lengths, the bond angles, and the bond strength. Now it is also used to determine and monitor the changing concentration of the reactant or products in kinetic studies. So this type of information we get from the UV vis studies. Now, what is the advantage of spectroscopy over classical methods? Requires less time and less sample for analysis. The results obtained are very accurate, they are reliable and they're reproducible, and the sample recovery is possible. So all these are, because of all these parameters, the spectroscopic methods are at a greater advantage as compared to the classical methods. Now, as I said earlier, the spectroscopy is of two types. It's the absorption spectroscopy and the emission spectroscopy. Now, what is absorption spectroscopy? An analytical technique. This is an analytical technique which concerns with the measurement of the absorption of electromagnetic radiation. Example is the UV vis spectroscopy, the IR spectroscopy, the NMR spectroscopy. And in the case of emission spectroscopy, it's an analytical technique in which the emission is dispersed according to some property of the emission and the amount of dispersion is measured. For example, the mass spectroscopy. So in your syllabus, this topic is not there, but the topics that are covered under the syllabus is the UV vis spectroscopy, the IR spectroscopy, and the NMR spectroscopy. Now, what is electromagnetic radiations? Because why electromagnetic radiation is important in the spectroscopy is that in this technique, it's the electromagnetic when the electromagnetic radiation, it passes through any matter. So the changes that are taking place within that matter, that is interpreted in the form of a spectrum, and the spectrum is analyzed to give us vital information about the sample through which the electromagnetic radiation has passed. So what is an electromagnetic radiation? So we very well know it is a radiation. So that means light is a radiation. So it is a small part of the entire electromagnetic spectrum or the radiation. So this radiation has photons of definite energy. That means each photon has got a definite energy and it behaves like both a wave-like and particle-like characteristics. Now, like all wave characteristics, the radiation is characterized by a wavelength or a frequency. Now, we very well know what is the definition of a wavelength. You can see this diagram here. It's the distance between two adjacent peaks or two adjacent troughs. And it can be designated in meters, centimeter or nanometers. Now, what is frequency? It is the number of wave cycles that travel past a fixed point per unit time and is usually given in cycles per second or hertz. Now, what is the relationship between wavelength and frequency? Now, we know that this is a very important relationship. This is the velocity of light and that is equal to the frequency and the wavelength. And the energy is equal to the h mu or hc by lambda. Now, this is the electromagnetic radiation. This is the entire spectrum of the radiation. You can see that the spectrum has various regions. And the extreme left part of the spectrum is the gamma rays. The next is coming the X-rays, then we are coming the UV. The visible is the small part of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. Now next is coming the infrared rays. The next is coming the microwaves, and this is the last one is the radio waves. So here you can see that each part of the spectrum is, you can express the or you can characterize each part of the spectrum with respect to the wavelength and the frequency and the energy, and the three are connected as E is equal to hc by lambda or h mu. Now, what happens when the electromagnetic radiation interacts with matter? So, as I said, when electromagnetic radiation passes through a matter, then the atom or the molecules within that matter, they absorb this radiation and they undergo different types of transitions. So, what are the different types of transitions? It is electronic transition, the vibrational transition, the rotational transition, and the translational transition. This is usually not discussed in greater details in spectroscopy. So, you can see in this diagram that this is a energy level diagram. Now, the E0, this is the electronic energy level, and this is in the ground state, and this is the excited state. The E stands for the electronic energy level. Now, the bold lines within this are the vibrational energy levels, and between the electronic energy level and the vibrational energy level, the minute lines correspond to the rotational energy level. Now, what are the electronic transitions? So at room temperature, we know that the atoms or the molecules, they are in the lowest energy level and we designate as EE0. Now, when the electromagnetic radiation is passed through that sample, then what happens? The atoms or molecules, they absorb this radiation having a frequency or wavelength corresponding to the UV-Vis region. That means if the electromagnetic radiation corresponds to the UV-Vis region, then, and if it is made to pass through an atom or molecule, then what happens? That one of the outermost bonded or lone pair of electron is promoted to the higher energy level. And this higher energy level, depending on where that atom or molecule is placed after the excitation, it is designated as E1, E2, E3, E4, or En. Now, such transitions, that means the electrons, they are undergoing transition from one electronic energy level to another electronic energy level, and such transitions are called as the electronic transition, and the difference, that delta E is equal to h mu, and this is equal to the En, that is the excited state, minus the ground state. And delta E value is nearly equal to 35 to 71 kilocalories per mole. Now, what is the vibrational transition? Upon absorption of IR radiation, the molecules are excited and they undergo transition from one vibrational energy level to another. Now, transition type is vibration, and as we very well know, vibration nothing but the to and fro motion. So, vibrational levels have lesser energy as compared to the electronic energy level, and the spacing between the energy levels are relatively small, that is 0.01 to 10 kilocalories per mole. Now, what is a rotational transition? Now, this like the rotational, the microwave region, when that radiation is absorbed by the atom or molecule, the molecule then undergoes rotational transition. So, the spacing between the rotational energy levels are even smaller than the vibrational energy levels. So, let us see, this is a summary of the effect of the electromagnetic radiation on molecules. So, if gamma rays, they penetrate gamma rays or X-rays, they penetrate a substance or matter, it results in the ionization of that matter. So that means they are of very high energy. Now, next is coming the UV-Vis region, and the UV-Vis rays, when they penetrate a matter, it results in electronic transition. IR radiations, they cause molecular vibrations. The microwave causes the rotational vibration, rotational motion, and the radio waves cause the nuclear spin transition. So the topics that are covered under your syllabus are UV-Vis, IR, and the NMR. So what are the different types of absorption spectroscopy? It is the UV-Vis spectroscopy, the infrared spectroscopy, and the NMR spectroscopy. All these are there in your syllabus. So we have come to the end of this lecture, and I hope you liked it, and I hope you have submitted your assignments by now. So thank you.